was supposed to be a simple fisherman's job. So how did it all go wrong? A fisherman with amnesia. Being a free man as I am, no one would have a better fresh start than I. Day 1. I've arrived at Greater Marrow, a town on an island between the vast ocean. Though there was a small accident, I've arrived at my destination nonetheless, and with the help of the friendly mayor, I was able to set up a new life at a new home. Day 5. The waters here are very satisfying. In the seas of the Marrows, where there are fish aplenty, and their varying species, I was able to make a sizable profit, to which I invested in my boat, upgrading the engine and inventory, and preparing for a diverse range of fishing equipment. Day 10. As my mind was occupied with fishing, I've sailed further away from the town than I thought. As a townsman warned, I was surrounded by the nightly thick fog. But the moment I saw valuable fishes emerging from the darkness, a mere fog was a hazard worth risking. It's just some fog. All I need is to steer the boat carefully. But I've only just begun night fishing, and yet I started to feel an overwhelming fatigue. A fatigue that exhausts not the body, but the mind. The fishing boats in the town from afar disappeared like a mirage, and the crimson aura drifting above the surface seemed as if it would devour me. What was most unbearable was the obnoxious yet calm glances from deep beneath the ocean. Unable to endure the quietude any further, I was forced to blow the horn as I sailed back to town. The next day, I woke up with pain searing through my body, and from the dock worker whom I've acquainted with, I was able to hear a story about the fog. A story of a local fisherman 20 years ago, who salvaged from the depths a certain sealed casket, and that a thick fog covered the seas by night ever since. But after hearing such a preposterous story, I started to notice disturbing presences that previously slipped my mind. The highly alerted lighthouse keeper whom I just met. The townsman eager to leave at any minute. The mayor of Little Marrow who disappeared after going insane. And the mayor of Greater Marrow, grinning as if none of these incidents mattered. This town was definitely hiding something from me. Day 13. Again, I have set sail in the night for fishing. I told the townsfolk it was for the valuable nocturnal fishes, but the ocean within the darkness drew me like a fish lunging for bait, from the port to the seas. But I was not welcome here. Infections spreading among fishes, and huge angler fishes disguised as boats. Despite the increasing threats of the unknown, I reeled in the rod restlessly and was utterly aghast. Hooking up these grotesque aberrations that started to appear more frequently, I sailed my fully loaded boat back to the town and cautiously handed them over to the fishmonger. A mysterious invitation from a mysterious man. At a huge mansion on the supposedly deserted Blackstone Isle, the man revealed himself as the Collector, claiming the handkerchief as one of the relics he was looking for. And that he would install dredging equipment in exchange for locating more of his relics. And so I have expanded my career as a treasure hunter. Not sure why I need to investigate strange occurrences to locate the relics, but I learned that the island's currents where shipwrecks flow in emit strange beams of light. And soon after, I was actually able to find a fancy key mentioned by the Collector. The key was glittering as if it wanted me to find it, and the Collector greeted me as I returned with the relic. Dark blessing from the Book of the Deep. This paranormal power that granted speeds beyond the engine's limits consumed my mind with each use. But with this sort of perk, I could endure any amount of fatigue. The Collector. Who the hell is that fellow anyway? Day 28. I have set sail in search of the remaining relics, but the open ocean was indeed treacherous. From crows that snatched away my fish, to crabs mimicking shipwrecks, and menacing phantasmic sharks. The risks at the open ocean were incomparable to the Marrows. But the shipwrecks swallowed by the ocean were stocked with valuable treasures, and the obelisks with unknown forces, upon making offerings, granted its share of power. As I upgraded my boat further with those rewards, I arrived at Stellar Basin, a southwest region where the relic is to be found. At the center of the lake that connects to the ocean, I have located the relic, and with relative ease, I couldn't retrieve the relic. Lurking upon the depths of the water, the Kraken destroyed everything that approached. So I met a researcher studying the local biome. And after reactivating the generator, I was able to temporarily repel the Kraken away from the noise. I was finally able to retrieve a huge ring embedded with all sorts of jewels. Day 48. My search for the relics continued. At the abandoned whaling town of Gale Cliffs, I evaded the giant serpent's pursuit. The very same responsible for the town's destruction. And from deep inside the ruins, I was able to find a rusty music box. Later, I arrived at the Twisted Strands mangrove forest, a natural habitat of mine suckers that feed off of the sanities of their prey. There, I met a stranded airman in the swamps and crafted bait for the mine suckers. Luring out these aggravated monsters, the airman obliterated them with his mortar. And from its stinking carcass, I found yet another relic, a shiny necklace this time. The collector gladly took the relics off my hands and granted me more powers from the book that can banish entities from the depths and instantly harvest shoals of fish. At this point, I started to suspect if he is even human. But as long as he kept his end of the bargain, so should I. Day 77. Setting sail to Devil's Spine, my next destination. I found myself scooping up letters floating in the seas. The letters all seemed to be written by a woman, and judging from its contents, the writer of the letters was a fisherman's wife who unsealed the casket from the depths 20 years ago. Ring, necklace, music box, objects that sound way too familiar. The fisherman who loved his dear wife, yet obsessed with myths. And the wife's incomprehensible letters, to which have lost track of its dates since that day 20 years ago. I couldn't figure out the whole picture with only fragments, but there was one suspicion that filled my thoughts. That the fisherman who brought upon the destruction to the seas might be the collector. Day 83. I have finally arrived at Devil's Spine. Below the smoldering seas and submerged volcanoes was a sunken ancient ruin, tarnished over time, and piranha spawns gnawing at my boat. as they signaled the unseeing mother to attack. Wondering about the ruins while being harassed by the toothed malice, I stumbled upon a note left by another fisherman. The fog that came with a broken seal. 5 equals rise. That the age of the deep and the sky repeats, and that the upcoming age of the deep would be forever. If so, could this ruin be a vestige of an ancient civilization sunken during the previous age of the deep? I tried not to think so hard about what I just read as I continued my search, and encountered a fanatic in possession of a pocket watch. As I acquired the flames required to conduct his ritual, from the charred ashes of his remains, I was able to retrieve the 5th and final relic. Day 99. Back on my way to Blackstone Isle. I met the missing mayor of Little Marrow who had gone insane. The old mayor was there 20 years ago. The casket salvaged that day contained a silver and crimson book, and my suspicion was confirmed. The fisherman that unsealed the casket from the deep, who laid his hands on the book, was indeed the collector. Finally, I've collected all 5 relics of the fisherman's wife. But before I leave, there is one last thing I needed to confirm. I finally remember. I am the fisherman. I am the collector. My dearest wife, Julie. For her, there was nothing I wouldn't do. Julie was happy enough just by being beside me. but for the sake of a comfortable rest of our lives, I needed more money. And so I had an obsession with myths and rumors, until I learned of a location for priceless treasures, and with expensive dredging equipment and a whole crew, I finally managed to salvage the treasure. And the very same day the sea offered me the casket, it claimed my dear Julie as payment. Barely breathing with the book in my arms, I delved into the book, searching for a means to bring her back, and the enchanted grimoire spoke to me. If I collect all 5 of her relics, I will be able to raise her back from the sea. But there was an unexpected problem. The one who wanted to forget everything from this trauma. My other self. Every night, this weakling of mine was a nuisance. And so I split my personality into 2, continuing my research in secret, and addressing my other self through the mirror. I managed to retrieve all the relics. After all, the Book of the Deep was in the palm of my hands all along. Day 100. I met the lighthouse keeper. Knowing about me since 20 years ago, she told me what the old mayor said: return the book where it belongs. Returning to my boat, I gazed at my wife's relics. She died because of my greed, died because of my sins. And I am to just forget about her? Turn away and leave? No, I cannot do that. My wife, drowned beneath the seas, still awaits for her husband to bring her back. And so I made up my mind. With a collector's persona, I made my voyage to the place I lost her 20 years ago. To release the lost one, frozen in time, and tethered by chains in the deep. Bind them to this world once more. Open the door to the starry heavens, and lay the weary world to rest. My dear wife, as beautiful as I remember. Oh, how I missed you.